Next, Joshua Chavez and Kyrene Chavez.
I'm here, Your Honor.
I did see.
I'm here.
You're okay? Great. Can you hear me okay, both of you?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, and Ms. Day is here. Waiting for Ms. Day to unmute herself.
Yes, Your Honor, I'm here.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for your work in this case. Ms. Day has issued a report. Have both of you been able to review that report?
Yes, I have.
Okay. Ms. Day, do you want to summarize your conclusions and what you recommend at this point?
Yes, Your Honor. My conclusion of this investigation, which was somewhat slanted due to the lack of participation by mother, is simply that visitation should return to a normal schedule of alternating weekends with some restrictions. The overnight portion of those visits should occur in the grandparents' home for the child's safety, which is an abundance of caution only, and that the child should not have any contact with
You broke up a bit on the last part. I heard the child should something.
Should not have any contact with David Sergeyev, mother's new boyfriend. He has a prior conviction that is of a very concerning nature, and that's included in the report.
Ms. Chavez has since filed a document with the court showing that Mr. Sergey no longer needs to register as a sex offender. Did you have a chance to review that?
I wasn't provided that information, but I'm not surprised he's not registered. It doesn't alleviate.
I assume that doesn't change your position that he should not have contact with the child. You're breaking up again, Ms. Day. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, Your Honor. I do not believe that he should have contact. The fact that he doesn't have to register doesn't change my opinion.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Chavez, any comment on the report and the recommendation?
Your Honor, because, he committed offense already, I'm in fear of my child's life with him around, because I'm finding out she's taking off and he's babysitting my son.
Mr. Sergey is?
What was that?
Mr. Sergey is?
Yes, Your Honor. He's watching my son and her daughter when she's not around, and my main concern is just the safety of my son.
Okay.
Your Honor, that is false. He only comes on the weekends, and he's not coming anymore. And my kids are always with me, or he's always with me. So he does not have opportunity to be around my kids without me. And when she found this out, I didn't know about it at all until she asked me questions. I was like, okay, well, I'll find out. And then I gave her what I knew, and then I questioned him on it because he wanted to know why I kept asking questions. I wouldn't put my kids in danger because I already put my kids in danger with him. Especially with my oldest. And nothing has been done with it.
Okay. So when a guardian ad litem is appointed, that is really the assistance the court needs to understand what is going on with the parties what are the relationships, what kind of challenges everyone faces, and whether there are any concerning factors with other individuals that may encounter the children. And so Ms. Day has certainly assisted the court in that regard. I think her recommendation is honestly fairly conservative for Mr. Chavez. And at this point, I'm going to adopt it. And I want to see how things progress. It's possible that I will order additional visitation in the future. But for now, I'm going to order every other weekend. And Mr. Chavez, are you there? When did you last see your son?
I last saw him on New Year's Eve on the 30th or 31st.
Okay.
And it's my scheduled weekend this week.
Okay, that's what I was wondering. So visitation for Mr. Chavez will now be unsupervised from, and I don't have it in front of me, but whatever time Ms. Day indicated on Saturday until Sunday. That will begin on January 14th. However, when your son normally would go to bed or about a half hour before that, he'll need to go to the grandparents' house. And you can stay with him there if you want, depending on what they would like.
Yeah.
But he'll need to spend the night at the grandparents' house.
Yeah, Your Honor, it's the same property, and I'm okay with my son staying at my parents' house because I work graveyard.
Okay.
So I'm leaving here between 9 and 11 p.m. and I don't get home until like 2 to 5 in the morning.
Okay, so on every other weekend, then what time would you be dropping your son off at the grandparents' house?
Probably around 7:30.
Okay, that sounds good. And then when you come home, and I guess you'll need a little bit of rest, and then on Sunday morning you'll be able to spend additional time with your son. Okay.
Oh yeah, I'm already still planning on seeing him at 8:30, or if my son's up around like 7 or 7:30.
Okay. All right. So that will be the order.
What time am I to pick him up on Sunday? Because I don't think it said it in the paperwork.
I had recommended 6 p.m.
Okay, just making sure.
Okay, and Your Honor, I thought it was Friday till Sunday.
I thought it was Saturday, but let me take a look. I could be.
Yeah, it was Friday, so he could pick up after school to reduce the amount
That's
of
right.
contact. Yeah.
Okay.
I have a 500 feet thing for my daughter, and my daughter's home, and the school is right in front of my complex. So that is too close to my daughter, and that makes her unsafe. So I'd rather his father, Steve Lagerblade, pick up this boy from school just for my daughter to feel safe, because it is in that 500 feet perimeter.
Mr. Chavez, do you know if that would be appropriate? Would that work?
I got two things about that. The first thing is, yeah, that's fine if my dad picks up, but if you looked at the no contact order, it only states me not to be around her school. It doesn't say nothing about her residence or her. It just says her school or workplace.
Okay, well,
So in an abundance of caution,
They got my son.
the grandfather would be able to pick up. And if that provides that extra feeling of safety and security, I think that's more than appropriate. Mr. Lagerblade has indicated he would do anything the court recommended.
okay.
Yeah.
Let's do that. I was exactly going to say that. I do want the parties to be as comfortable as we can. So we'll have the grandfather pick up the son after school, and Mr. Chavez visitation will begin at that point on Friday and will end at 6 p.m. on Sunday. And the 2 nights, Friday night and Saturday night, will be spent with the grandparents.
Okay, Your Honor, my
Go
son
ahead.
has a doctor's appointment on Friday, and I told Mr. Chavez or Mr. Lockblade after the doctor's appointment, I would just bring him over there because it will not be enough time at school because he's getting checked because my son is not eating appropriately. He's being very picky and it's science, and they're going to send a referral out for being tested for autism.
When is the appointment? What time?
This Friday at 1:50.
Okay. Hey, Your Honor, my ex-wife hasn't been keeping me in the loop of his doctor's appointments or nothing like that. This is all
Your
new
Honor,
to-
I can work with the parties offline so we don't have to do this on the docket to arrange this.
Yeah.
This is fine.
Okay. Please work with Ms. Day. I think where there's doctor appointments and it may delay the transfer, then I think those would take precedence over the exact time of the transfer. Okay.
Okay.
But right after the doctor appointment, then the child needs to go to the grandparent.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay. Now,
I'm okay with
I am going to order that the son not have any contact with Mr. Sergey. And the charge that we're dealing with is just too concerning. And so I'm going to put that order in.
No,
Your Honor,
I
question.
didn't know about it, and it kind of made me mad that he didn't tell me, especially the situation I'm dealing with Mr. Chavez, and the cops have not talked to him or nothing, or done a lie detector test or anything. They just won't. I feel like they're not doing their job to make sure she's safe, knowing, yes, my son does have a right to know his dad, but in a safe environment. So I'm hoping my son does not backslide because he started to stop pooping his pants because it was just, I kept a routine with my son of seeing his dad. So I'm just hoping he doesn't backslide because of it. Because I want him to have a relationship, but it's the safety factors of it. So it did make me mad when I didn't know about that. And that person will be out of our lives because I'm not going to have that around either of my kids.
Okay.
Hey, Your Honor, I got a question.
Go ahead.
What would happen if Mr. David was caught around my child? Because I don't take her word to own it. He'll still be out there.
There will be a bench order from me filed in the next couple of days indicating there's to be no contact with him. If you become aware of that, I guess you could report that to the police or report it to me. I'm going to ask that everybody come back on February 1 at 9 a.m. And the reason for that is I want to make sure these visitations are going okay. There should be 2 weekends that we go through by then. And I think it's important for the court to check in, and if there needs to be any adjustments, we can do that at that time.
Okay, it says we have court the 25th.
That may be from.
Is that for the divorce?
Let me look at the last.
I thought we were already divorced.
I had a review hearing set the 25th. That was the GAL review. Can we, why don't we strike that and we'll put it over to February 1st because I want to have 2 sets of weekends that we go through before we get to the 1st. Ms. Day, will that work for you?
That works perfectly, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right. So we're not going to be here on the 25th, but we will be back on February 1st. Okay.
When will the divorce be finalized?
Somebody needs to submit papers to me. I think now we have the visitation schedule close to worked out. So you can put together a parenting plan, documents for the final decree of dissolution.
I'm wondering
And
if we should wait till after we come back because to see how it goes.
sure.
Because I don't want, I'm afraid he's going to backslide, but we can always work with it. I'm willing to work with it with him. I just don't want my son to go back into having accidents, which I don't know why. It was before David came in the picture and now he stopped. But I just want to make sure, I don't know if it's because he likes his steady schedule. So I'm just hoping it doesn't affect his schedule. Because I'll ask my son, would you like to do this or that? So I give him choices just because of it.
All right. So getting back here on February 1 is for
Okay.
you to let the court know what's going on,
Okay.
and for Mr. Chavez to let the court know what's going on from his perspective. And I think Ms. Day is probably going to stay in touch with both of you until that point. Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you both.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Yep. So that would be Joshua Chavez and Irene Chavez.
I'm here, Your Honor.
I'm
All right.
here.
All right. Ms. Day, why don't I start with you? Have you, I believe I ordered the visitation plan that you set forth, except for the Wednesday visits last time we were here. And have you checked in with the parties and how they've been going from your perspective?
So that's correct, Your Honor. The visits, as far as I have been told, are going well, or they're happening. We're also supposed to be here for final documents, or for not final documents, but for presentation on the documents from your prior order. And I haven't seen those yet, so I don't know what the process is of getting those done, if Mr. Chavez has done that or not. It was his responsibility as the petitioner.
Your Honor, I'm not ready to finalize this.
No, they weren't final, Ms. Chavez. It was just from the prior hearing that would provide for the order that the judge gave at the last hearing.
I did do a bench order
Okay.
on that.
Yes, but I have a question on that one.
Go ahead.
Mr. Sergey actually lives at my residence. He's on my lease. So technically you are kicking him out of his apartment. And if you guys want documents of that, I will go to my landlord and get a document because he signed papers. So how does that?
That would be new information, Your Honor. Ms. Chavez, when I met with her and during my investigation, Mr. Sergey did not live with them and had his own residence in a different town up north, I believe, Olympia. So that would be something new, and that would be in direct violation of the order.
He was coming every weekend. And they said because he comes every weekend, or he was coming every weekend, that he had to be on my lease.
All right. Well, Mr. Sergey cannot have any contact.
I would like to understand why, because if you guys looked in Mr. Chavez's past, in his juvenile, he did something, but I don't know the whole situation, what happened. And then he has the assault on his record. And then he has the open CPS case, which no one's doing anything about.
Your Honor, that has no relevance with this.
Just a minute, Mr. Chavez. My understanding is there's a felony conviction against Mr. Sergey as an adult.
That
And,
happened years ago.
and it's concerning enough that the recommendation is he not have any contact with the child.
But I have more concern of his dad. I mean, he molested my oldest and we're still trying to get it prosecuted. No one has talked to him, which is a joke.
So, Your Honor, I have been
My
very
daughter-
thorough in my investigation
Let
regarding
me hear from Ms. Day here for a moment. Okay, go ahead.
I've been very thorough in my investigation of those allegations, including the law enforcement records, the records from DCYF, et cetera. There is no open case involving father. There is no open investigation regarding those allegations involving her daughter. That is a closed deal at this point until there's more information. Law enforcement is not pursuing that. They may in the future. I can't speak to what could happen in the future. But based on those concerns, my recommendation was that the overnights occur in the grandparents' home so that there would be no concern for this child's safety. I think that's more than appropriate and adequate to protect this child.
How is he not protected when my son was always with me, and when Mr. Sergey was with me, he was never alone with my kids? I don't understand it. Especially when it happened 14 years ago, almost 15.
So we're just here for that moving forward, Your Honor. Do you want me to do more investigation? Is there something else you would like for me to do?
I just don't think it's fair because both kids keep asking about the person, and they were happy. I mean, he helped me take care of my kids because my just not gave me a dime for my son. I don't want shit from him because I've done it all. I've worked my ass off to take care of my kids.
All right, we can leave
And
the words somewhere else, okay?
I have proof. I could go get proof of showing I've always been working. I always have. I went back to work after my son was 3 months old. I've maybe been out of work a week or two, and then I would have a new job. I've always supported my kids. I don't need Mr. Chavez's money. I don't want it. But I think it's crap that I just don't think it's right that you're taking something that a man is willing to help and has not done anything, and it was 14 years ago. I wish you guys would give him a chance. And I know Mr. Chavez is mad that my son said I have two daddies. I think that's disrespectful that my son did it, but he's 6. He don't know better. And he's never said it in front of me. He's always called him by his first name. So I just wish you guys would give him a chance because it's been 14 years ago. Just like if Mr. Chavez did something like that, I'd be like, you know what? Why can't give a chance? Especially if that big gap.
All right, let me hear from Mr. Chavez. How have the visitations been going for you?
The visitations have actually been really awesome. I was actually able to take my son to the store so he could get his bananas and stuff. And, you know, we just did a lot of hanging out together. We bonded a whole lot. You know, but can I say something, Your Honor? If that David guy is going to be living at my wife's residence, I really want to have full custody of my son because of his safety. Not to mention when my dad was dropping off Austin, Kyrene would be out in the parking lot talking with my dad, and Austin be upstairs with that guy.
All right,
And
I'm
just
not
worried
going to
about-
change custody at this point. I'm going to leave the current order in place, except I'm going to add in every Wednesday visit as recommended by the guardian ad litem from after school until 6 p.m.
That's a 3-hour. There's no point of that. That is not, no. He gets him every other weekend. I'm not gonna let him have him on Wednesdays. We're not gonna screw up his ordeal. I already have to turn something in to child protection services that I've known my son has done. And I don't think it's dad, because I don't see dad doing that, but it's just to protect him. But we need to stop changing it on the boy because the boy is acting out. And this is not fair to him.
Ma'am,
Not understand there's a 6-year-old that is affected by this, and I'm willing to see him every other weekend, but I'm not willing for Wednesdays because you're gonna break his schedule. You keep breaking it, and you guys don't understand. He's gonna act out again.
I'm providing visitation to a father who has a constitutional right to spend time with his son.
Yeah, but okay, so
And
he gets act
that
out.
is now going to include Wednesday from after school until 6.
Thank you, Your Honor.
I'm going to set this for another hearing for March 1 at 9 o'clock. If either party wants to inform the court about how the visitations are going, or if Ms. Chavez wants to present an argument as to why Mr. Sergey should be allowed to have contact with the child, I would like you to submit that by way of a declaration that's filed with the court and also provided to Ms. Day so that we can consider that at the next hearing.
Okay, how can I object on the Wednesdays?
Object to what? To the Wednesday?
Yeah, I mean, do I have to get paperwork that saying from the psychologist at school and the school teacher that every time they say something, it affects them in class?
The psychologist at school will say that Wednesday visits are a problem, then I'll consider that.
Okay,
That's
but
that-
Your Honor, would you like me to follow up with the parties and see how the visits are going before March's hearing?
Yes, I would like you to do that. If you need
Right.
me to authorize more time, I will.
All right, thank you, Your Honor.
okay, but he's not allowed to pick him up. Grandpa pick him up from, right?
Mr. Chavez will pick up from school.
He
Yeah.
can't get too close to my daughter. My house is right behind the school.
more than 500
Well,
feet away
then-
from the school.
Yeah, that's good.
It doesn't violate the order, Your Honor, from.
Grandfather can pick him up then, Mr. Lager.
Yeah, because you told me last time that you were gonna let the grandfather. Is that starting today or starting next week?
Start it next week, okay?
Okay, because that's just
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Honor, how long is the visit on Wednesday?
It's from after school until 6 p.m.
Okay. Thank you, Your Honor.
Let's go back to Chavez and Chavez. And Joshua Chavez, you're here. Is Kyrene Chavez here? I don't hear her, and just a moment here. Okay. All right, Mr. Chavez, you've filed a motion expressing concern that David Sergey has moved into Ms. Chavez's house, right?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you have any information or proof that Mr. Sergey and your son has had any contact?
Well, sir, with our court date we had 2 weeks ago, she admitted to court that she moved that David guy in and put him on the lease. And then when I asked my son back on Saturday, you know, if he has seen David, he said, yeah, but then he went, shh, like that. And I was like, well, was David around? And he was like, I can't say. I'm like, okay, buddy.
All right, let me ask you, did you provide this motion to Ms. Chavez?
Yes, Your Honor, she got served and I faxed a copy of it to Tina.
How did you serve her?
My dad served Kyrene when he dropped off Austin, and then I faxed Tina. That Wednesday of our court.
Okay, I don't see a declaration signed by the father that was served. And typically I would need to have that before I can make any decisions. Let me say, I understand your concern. I'm a little, right now, I don't know that I see any proof that Mr. Sergey and your son have had contact. I understand he's on the lease, but they could work out something where Mr. Sergey leaves every time your son goes over. I know that sounds, that would be, I suppose, hard to accept that goes on, but right now I don't know what is happening. So I'd like to put this over 2 weeks. I'd like you to have another contempt order or order to go to court for contempt hearing signed for March 1 at 9 o'clock. Give that to Ms. Chavez, and whoever gives it to her needs to file a declaration with the court saying that they gave it to her.
The return of service?
Yes.
Yeah, that was my bad. I forgot to get a copy of it.
Okay, so on contempt hearings, I need to know that the person was served, and I don't see that here. Okay. So if you could take that step, and then we'll be back here on March 1st, and we can make some decisions at that time. All right.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chavez. Let me just turn to that. Joshua Chavez and Kyrene Chavez, either here. I've got a phone in the waiting room. Let's see if that might be.
I'm here, Your Honor.
Is Miss Chavez here?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. All right. All right. Are we ready to go forward on that particular issue, which is whether there's contact between the child and the boyfriend?
I believe so.
Okay. Let's hear from Mr. Chavez first. Joshua Chavez, you want to address that?
Yes, Your Honor, I will. There's actually a lot of stuff that I'm actually still concerned about with the matter of that David guy being around my son.
Okay. This is the time to talk about it.
Okay. I know his name's on the lease. I do strongly believe that, you know, he's been over at Miss Chavez's house while my son's there. Because when my son gets ready to get picked up on Sunday, he's always telling me and my parents that he's scared to go home. And when I asked him, I know I'm not supposed to, but I was curious, but I asked him if David was there. He said that he has secrets. And I was like, okay. And then, you know, he happened to tell my parents that David's there all the time. You know, and I just don't know what to do, because if he's there all the time, you know, and like my son always coming over here all happy, you know, does not having accidents, you know, we're having a good time, this and that. But I'm just confused on why when he comes back to his mom's, you know, I'm finding out that he's having accidents, he's doing this and that, but he's never had problems over here during my visits.
Okay. Anything else, Mr. Chavez?
I just want to make sure that my son is safe, and that all the visitations has been going good for my son and I.
Okay. All right, thank you. Ms. Chavez, any response?
He's not, since you put it in writing saying he cannot be around, he has not came down. My son has not seen him. I might have been on the phone with him, but me and him do not have a relationship anymore, because my son is more important than that. I make sure my kids get everything. Mr. Chavez does not give me a penny. I work my ass off every day from 9:30 to 5 to support both my kids. I don't know why my kid does it sometimes. His accidents, we haven't, because he stopped, and once in a while he'll have it, but coming back. So I don't know what Dad has said, but we've noticed, I've asked my son, the only thing I have asked my son when he comes home is, why did he do with his dad? And he'll say nothing, because that's his normal response. And then I'll ask him, did he eat? What did he eat? Because our son is very picky. And that's it. Because I don't want to question him, because I know it's not right. And I don't want him upset.
Your Honor, can I say something?
All right, I'll let you, and then I'm going to go to Ms. Day.
Okay, Ms. Chavez knows that my parents, since day one, Austin's been born, even while she was living over here with the kids, this and that, and with my visit, Austin has always been fed all the time here. You know, and then she's telling my dad, you know, she's saying she's working 9 to 5, but she's telling my dad, you know, she's been working or living off of 20 hours a week, that she's fine with that. You know, and then the last court date, she said in open court saying she didn't want nothing from me at all.
All right, let me go to Ms. Day. Okay, Ms. Day, any comments?
So really the only comments I have, Your Honor, kind of go back to the first hearing we had February 1st. And the hearing before that, where you had ordered no contact with Mr. Sergeyev. Mother indicated last month that he had moved in with her and was on her lease and was having contact. And I have no reason to think that that has not happened or that anything has changed. Nobody has submitted any documents that he is no longer living there or not on the lease. You had ordered mom to file any well, both parents actually, not just mom, to file any declarations, which is why I think father filed for the contempt. And mother hasn't submitted anything in writing or provided any information. The only contact I've had from mother was last night at 5:30 when she contacted me and wanted to talk to me. I was not able to oblige her. I called her back, but she didn't answer, so I left a message. My concern is this matter is kind of languishing, is going on and on. I think we just need to set it for trial If Mr. Sergeyev is not living with mother and not on the lease, then she needs to provide proof of that. Otherwise, it's my belief that he is still there and having contact. There's no reason to think different based on her own testimony.
Your Honor, the only reason he got on the lease is because the manager wanted him on the lease because somebody smashed his front window. And this was before we went to court. So that's why. So I did talk to her, and then I went to the office asking, can we see video? And she's like, we need to put him on the lease to protect. And I'm like, okay. So, I mean, I have not gone there because the office opens at 8:30. I take my son to school, and then I have to drive to my clients. If you guys want proof of my hours of work, I can do that because I work Monday through Friday. And I got off at 5:30. So that's when I called you because I always work. I have only weekends.
All right.
And I don't know with my son, I don't know if my son understands or not. He's only 6 years old. I mean, there has been things going on in school that we're trying to figure out. And I don't think Mr. Chavez knows because he can ask his dad anytime because we are not supposed to have contact of talking from what you said. So I let his stepdad know what's going on in school with the boy. And from what I know, not sure if it's true or not, he has not asked about him, about school or anything. I don't think it's right that he can call the school because he can ask his dad.
Your
Okay.
Honor, I ask my son every Wednesday and every Friday how his school goes.
I'm ready to make a decision here. Okay. So we're not going to go back and forth. The motion here was one of contempt. There was an order that Austin not see Mr. Sergey. And Mr. Chavez is concerned that there is contact with Mr. Sergey after that order. And part of the evidence of that was the fact that Mr. Sergey was on the lease with Ms. Chavez. Ms. Chavez is indicating, well, that's for reasons other than Mr. Sergey living at the premises, and is adamant that Mr. Sergey has had no contact with Austin. But as Ms. Day pointed out, we don't have any declarations to that effect, or we don't have an effort to get Mr. Sergey off the lease. What it creates is what we call a factual issue as to whether there's actually been contact or not. If there is contact, then the court may have to make a modification to the parenting plan. And that factual determination is typically not done on this docket. It's done at a factual trial in front of one of the judges. And I think Ms. Day's suggestion that this should go to a trial on this issue is one that I think is well taken, because both sides will need to testify and state their claims. So what I'm going to do, I'm not going to make any changes in the parenting plan at this point. The order that Austin not see Mr. Sergey remains in effect. I'm going to put this on what's called the universal trial setting calendar for March 15th at 1 p.m. And both parties need to be present then, and the court will set, I'm going to indicate a one-day hearing. It probably won't take that long. But the court will give you a date for that hearing. And then that's something that a judge is going to have to hear from both sides and make a factual determination about.
So would
Is
this be a
that going
hearing
to be on
to
Zoom?
establish the final parenting plan, or just on the contempt?
Just on the contempt.
Okay,
I don't think we're here on the final parenting plan at this time.
okay. Thank you, Your Honor.
I have a question, Your Honor.
The trial, you can, you probably have to check with the judge as to whether that's on Zoom or not. It certainly can be on Zoom for this proceeding.
So the
Thank
trial's
you.
on the 15th, is that what you're saying?
Trial's not on the 15th. That's a date when the court will give you a week that the trial could occur on. And then closer to that week, they'll give you the actual trial date.
How would we know?
How would we know? There's a subsequent hearing. It's called a readiness hearing, a week.
So we all need to be present at the March 15th at 1 o'clock to get a hearing date set for the
I'll
contempt.
trial setting calendar on the 15th at 1 o'clock.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you.